Hello, I'm RetroJules. Well, the weekend just gone was Bounty Hunt weekend. Did you take part? Did you manage to spot any contributors in their red tanks and glowing icons? Just in case you didn't, I thought I'd make this video because as I realised with my Christmas hunt, I thought that actually the chances of you getting into a game with a contributor and then actually being on the opposing team and actually having a chance to take them out is still pretty remote on the odds. The numbers were around 10,000 when I was playing, which I thought was a little bit down. Normally I see about 15 to 16,000 people online. That might just been the times that I was playing, but I did also think that perhaps the prize for hunting a contributor wasn't really that inspiring. And let's be honest, with the winter games at the moment, you know, there are bonuses galore. The contributors have been giving tank codes away, and actually for anything to stand out in the game would be a little bit tricky. But I do think that the prizes for hunting a contributor should have been just a little bit more chunky, maybe. But I enjoyed the event. Thank you for those of you who sent me messages. I was playing in Do Not Disturb mode, which, if you don't know, means I still get messages, they just don't show on the screen while I'm recording. And I did go into those messages after every game and have a look, and the messages were great, and you guys were saying, really good to see you on the battlefield, good to see you. Quite surprised at how many people kind of said, why is your tank icon glowing? A lot of people didn't seem to know about the event, and the funny thing is, more people commented about the glowing icon than they did about the red camouflage, and I really like the red camouflage on the tank. I thought it looked pretty cool. Well, the first couple of games I played in my 50 TP, my Polish tier 9 heavy, and rather disappointingly, because of a few bugs, the red camo wasn't applied to that tank, so I wanted to make sure that I was going out in a red tank for this so you guys could get to see it. But I did have 2 games in the 50 TP, and with some rather excellent XP bonuses, those 2 games were enough to finish the 50 TP grind. So, little secret between you and me, just so you know, I now have a 60 TP in my garage. And that's probably the video I need to make next. Now, I've never been bounty hunted like this before, and I stuck at tier 10 purely because there was lots of tanks I wanted to play at tier 10. I thought, well, when I get bored of those, I'll move down the tiers, but I didn't get bored of those. And it ended up kind of, well, I started playing heavies, and you realise when you play a heavy that if there are people out there who are intent on taking you out in a heavy, you can't run away. And if there are 2 tanks around the corner, no matter how many of your team are behind you, if there's 2 tanks around the corner and they want to take you out, they will, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. So I was getting a little bit fed up of having my heavies taken out, and I started to then favour more manoeuvrable tanks purely for my own enjoyment and to make things a little bit trickier, because I thought if I get myself into a sticky situation, I've actually got the speed to get out and hopefully also have a half decent game. Because as much as it's fun to be out there for you guys trying to kill me, actually getting killed constantly does actually get grating after a while, and you're kind of like, oh god, please just let me have a complete game. But that wasn't half of it. I hadn't played for over a week prior to this event. I've just had things going on. I've been a little bit busy, and secretly between you and me, I've been playing a little bit of Mud Runner too. I fancied just a bit of a chilled game and wanted to give tanking a little bit of a break. So I had a week off. That's not good for me. I need to play very regularly to be anywhere near acceptable at this game. So I hadn't played for over a week, and I was also playing lots of different... Oh, Artie. Come on, 2 shots, all I got. Let's make them count. And we're on the reload. And because I was playing different types of tank, I'm not a good enough player to just adapt from one tank to another. Generally, when I play, I will decide that I'm going to play, for example, my 50 TP and the Conqueror, or I'll play the Batchat and some light tanks. I generally play in an evening with similar styles of tank if I can, purely because I just kind of need to zone in. Interestingly enough, when I was doing my Christmas hunt for you guys, I was playing so many hours into the early mornings and playing so regularly, I actually got relatively good at the game by my normal standard. But when I stop playing and just play for my sort of, I don't know what I play, 4 to 6 hours a week, it's really not enough. And having a week's break, if I wasn't getting hunted and killed very quickly, I was YOLOing, I was going to stupid spots on the map. In fact, I was playing like an idiot. And this game, my manoeuvrability really came in to help me at the beginning because I got myself in a sticky situation, but I cocked this up too because I got a little bit complacent and thought, I've got a pretty good idea where that heavy is. It's somewhere down on the B line, sort of B7ish, that's where I saw it last. And I should have played this a lot cautiously, and I just went winging in thinking, my speed and manoeuvrability will help me. And I kind of cocked it up because that tank, I'm going to proximity spot it very, very soon. I had the impression it was ahead of me, and what do? I just go blazing broadside out in front of it. Bollocks. Well, like I said, if I wasn't getting killed, I wasn't playing that well, and that was a prime example. But overall, it was quite an acceptable game with 6,000 XP. But the question is, of course, third class mastery too. But the question is Retro, what were most of the games like? Well, this is what they looked like. Yep, I got absolutely annihilated. Rolling out the Batchat again, like I said, I got to that stage where my heavies were just getting pinned and creamed left, right and centre, and I favoured some manoeuvrable tanks. And it would seem that my Batchat games, at the moment, generally seem to be my better games. Now there's two contributors in this one, there's myself, and there's Hinkle, and he's in a platoon, and him and his platoon and the entire team have all lemming trained down the 0 line, and I've stopped. I've got a tank destroyer with me, and I thought, well, I'll just stay in the bush and do a little bit of spotting, and then this TD comes up behind me. It's a grill. And he has a little look at me, and he goes, "Thanks, RetroJules," and that's really nice. And I had a lot of that, and I really enjoyed it. And even though people didn't comment about the camouflage, it was really, really funny because so many people were looking at it, because when the game would start, all the cannons would sort of come round and face my tank. And as we all drove off to our positions, they kept having a look, like dirty little perverts looking down their cannon at me. And even though it was quite disconcerting at times, it was quite funny. And I do think that people did notice the red camo and probably thought, ooh, I'm going to go back to my garage and see if I can get that camouflage. And you are going to be very disappointed. It did look quite cool. Well, we've done the sensible thing. Went out there, spotted, realised the enemy are coming that way, and not stayed there and stubbornly fought, but dropped back, told everyone I was dropping back, and the grill dropped back too. And now I'm thinking, well, hang on, everyone's up on the railway line here. Really need somebody out there spotting. And of course, I'm extra paranoid in these games because I know that there's a possibility that people will see my highlighted tank and they're going to make a play for me. I think you need to go further forward, Retro. For whatever reason, the enemy that came pouring into the town are not coming through. So whether they're looking at the mini-map and they're going back to their base, or they're just hanging around in the village, don't really know. Aha, there's a heavy. Don't really know what the enemy are up to. So our TDs are actually in a really good position because they can cover pretty much anything that goes on. And I'm in a position where really I need to be careful if I fire, but I can just drop back behind this bank, behind this barn, use these bushes and stay out of trouble. And that's the plan. Fall back, well, yeah, you see, I could fall back, but don't I need to be out here spotting for you guys? I'm going to stay here and I will fall back if I get into trouble. We're starting to bring in the assisted damage now, and here comes the light tank. Oh, really? Reversing, auto-aiming on the move. But you never know, sometimes it's worth snapping that shot just to get a cheeky kill. And I feel quite safe here, and I feel quite safe in the fact that if I get in trouble, I can just mush on out the way, and the TDs and RT have got me covered. And I really want this Object 705 taken out, so I try and break its cover just so I can expose it to our guys so they can get some shots in. And well, that shot just bounced. Now this was the only game that I actually saw a contributor in the game. And was I playing extra cautiously? Well, no, I just play the way I play. But I was kind of hoping that I might have a half decent game, just in case the other contributor is streaming and he's going, no, there's RetroJules out there. Oh, he's died in the first 30 seconds. But it was all about covering this part of the map for me, really. But doing it safely. Doing it safely, Jagdpanzer. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Get some more shots. Yes! And we get a kill. And we are whittling them down. And for whatever reason, we seem to be holding this flank quite nicely. The enemy didn't really push. And the reason some of them didn't push is because they chose to camp at E1 and E2, that classic little spot. There's a TD, and that is such a campy position, especially, or nearly always, always actually, for the team that spawn in the southwest. Well, I'm on full health, and actually not bad on the ribbons, and Artie's got a sniff of me. I need to move. I am not going to be an Artie target after all this good work. And the team are closing in, and we're going to corner them. And this just sort of made me realise that if I have a maneuver, I've always said to myself that maneuverability is key on the battlefield, and for me and the way I play, it absolutely is, because I can get myself out of sticky situations. I can also get myself in sticky situations. Oh, there's RT. Missed my chance. And this is kind of where I'm sort of going to go back to sort of playing mediums. Am I going to go back to playing light tanks? That I don't know. Don't know if I've really fallen back in love with the fast game. But I do love my bat chat. I love maneuverability and I love auto loaders, and the bat chat just gives me that ability to be a bit more flexible on the battlefield, I think. Right, going in for the leopard with auto aim, and we get our third kill. One light tank left, it's taken out, hurrah. Well, really pleased with that game because we did stop the enemy and we did protect our side of the map. So actually, as a team, we all played really well. And how did we do overall? Decent, just under 42,000 silver. Yeah, not great on damage, but I brought in the assisted, second class mastery, and came top. And Hinkle came second. Good to see you out there, Hinkle. Well, you might be asking, did you have any more games like that? Well, actually, I had more games like this.
Artillery's got a bead on us. Enemy artillery's got us pegged. We're leaking fuel. Take their sight.
Perdu la moitié de notre carburant.
At
Cette zone.
Well, it may be funny to watch, but you know what? When you're trying to have an afternoon of tanking and you just get annihilated game after game after game. Oh, it does get a bit much after a while. Well, this is the fast game. This is the first light tank gameplay of 2019. It was time to take out my trusty T100, my favourite light tank. And the reason for that, probably because you don't have to be that good in it, because what this tank does is it absolutely hits its target on the move, sometimes impossibly. Absolutely awesome. And I thought, do you know what? If people are going to hunt me down, absolutely intent on destroying me, YOLOing to do the very thing, I'm going to give them a run for their money. And I was really surprised to see that AMX where it was so quickly in the game, and that did catch me out. Well, it's time to bail out, and hopefully you will realise that after the Polish heavy line that I've been playing, that my driving will be more professional and I'll be more in control of my vehicle. Time will tell. Now there's two ways you can play this tank. I've got it with vert stabs, optics and vents, and you can use it as a really active manic tank. Or, because its camo rating is so good, you can also arguably stick a camo net on this and binoculars and rake in assisted damage. And that's what I love about this tank. It reminds me of the fun I used to have in my ELC BIS before it was nerfed beyond recognition. And it was just one of those great sneak up tanks, and then you could just bosh the enemy. And this tank does that for me because of its excellent camo rating. So you can either really be an active mad scout, running and playing by the skin of your teeth, which is what I like to do, or you could stick the camo net and binoculars on and find a nice mid position and just rake in assisted damage and then unleash the beast and try and mop up the enemy when they're all a one-shot kill. It's not a great sniping tank. I think the accuracy is about 0.5, is it? All the tier 10 lights are pretty poor on accuracy, but it's close range, auto aim. Oh, it's just great. And so far, I've not managed to flip this tank. Right, well they're coming down the A4 point, and who put that rock there? That rock wasn't always there. Yes, it was Retro. That rock's been there since this map was introduced. Yeah, now where am I going? Well, at least the tank is still upright, if nothing else. This is actually quite a tricky tank to flip, he says, because it is so low and flat. So there's a bit of a standoff up on the mountain at H7. There's the light tanks bailed out, but was it 4 or 5 of our team don't seem to be able to take out that heavy between them. Not quite sure why there's such a standoff. It just needs one idiot to go in and steal the kill and then leg it. Come on guys, let's move on. I've taken the tank out for you. Let's get the others. And then the plan was to whistle by these tank destroyers and hopefully distract them without taking a hit so our guys can get laid in. And then as I came around the corner, I kind of realised that, yeah, no, that's not a gauntlet I want to run. Actually, I'm going to bail out and let our guys get on with that. And hopefully escape without... that was close. Hopefully escape without taking a shot in the backside. Right. A cluster of tanks last seen about A4 or 5. Don't think they've been taken out. We've got TDs kind of keeping an eye on our base, and I'm wondering whether there is a hole right through the centre of the map for me to take out RT. Baby Waffle just on the corner, probably, in fact, not going to be looking my way because it doesn't know I'm here. It's going to be engaging our guys that are coming down the J line. So I just ease out gently and I think, do you know what? I'm going to take my chances. I'm going to go for RT. And I try and be sensible here. I try and switch to the compass for some better close combat orientation. And I hit the menu button. Professional tanker to the last. There we go. We got the compass. There's RT. Both of them. And this is something I need to be trying to do with my heavies when I'm going to go into close combat, is switch to the compass, because it really, really helps me work out where the tanks are, because I do struggle doing it with the mini-map. And both enemy scumbags are taken out. And I decide to sit in the cap, and have you noticed that the cap icons have been adjusted? They're a little bit clearer. When we got these cap icons in update 4.4, they were both red and green, and for me as a player it was really impossible to work out, and I would really have to stare at the icons to work them out. But now they're red or they're green and they're transparent behind it, and thank you Wargaming for sorting that out, because that does make life much simpler and easier to work out now. And of course Wargaming do sort of plan their content months in advance, so when there's something players aren't happy with, sometimes it is going to take months for that adjustment to be made. But they have, thank you, a little bit clearer. I'm going to be old fashioned. I still prefer the two horizontal lines we used to have. I did find those a lot easier, but I guess as icons they do look a little bit smarter and more up to date on the map. Well, I decided to get out the cap because we're gonna win this. Go in, guns blazing, and just help finish the game and end the first light game of 2019. And we're going in. There's an E5 in the cap. Will I get the shot in? One shot in the side. One more shot if I can. Will I get a kill? The last tank and full kills. I enjoy the skin of the teeth herring around games, and I did say that maybe I've fallen out of love with the fast game, but actually when I get a map like that it is so much fun. And how did we do overall? Not great on silver, okay on XP, a decent 3,000 damage and a 3rd class mastery badge. And how did we do overall with 4 tank kills? and we came second overall. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got to see some red tanks, and if you didn't, well, hopefully this video has satisfied that urge that you may have had and didn't get a chance to see the red tank camo. I really enjoyed the event. I am also glad the event is over, so I'm not going to be targeted as much, but it was really good fun, and thank you for your support, thank you for your messages. We had some brilliant messages coming through saying nice to see you out there and well done and good game and all the rest of it. It was a really nice event and I really enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. Keep safe, keep tanking, and I'll see you soon.